Hi everybody, it's Judy here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today is another episode of Houseplant Hospital. So in this series, I come across plants that need a little bit of TLC, whether it's my plant or someone else's plant that they've entrusted to me to take care of or to revive, or just given to me to resuscitate. Regardless of how they come to me, they are plants that need some care. And in today's video, I'm going to be trying to resuscitate these peperomia. And then if you want to see an update of the last episode of Houseplant Hospital, where I revived or did my best to revive a Calathea jungle rose, then just keep watching to the end and I will show you guys an update on that, because I filmed that about 3 weeks ago now, and I guess I'll just update you guys on it. And I will also update you on the very first episode of Houseplant Hospital that I did, where I repotted and revived a Kentia palm. I'll update you guys on that as well. And thank you for all the feedback on my last sorry guys, I'll get onto this in a minute, but thank you for all the feedback that I got in my last Houseplant Hospital video, where you guys said you'd like to see, like, well, a few of you said you'd like to see a rolling update where I do one rescue and then I do an update from the last episode. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to get stuck straight into these peperomia. So the basic story of what's happening with these peperomia is I can't quite figure out what they need. I've given them bright indirect light. I've put them in a place where there isn't too much light. I bottom water them because peperomia don't like to get their leaves wet. As you guys know, if you've been watching on my channel, I always water most of my houseplants in the shower. Peperomia are not one of those plants that I do that, one of the very few. I bottom water these because, again, they don't like their leaves to get wet. So I've done that. I've done right by them. I've let the soil dry out. Peperomia are kind of like succulents where they will suffer if you overwater them. So I've been very careful with that to not overwater my peperomia. And still, as you can see, they're just looking really, really sad. Now, I was talking through it with you guys. Well, I was basically talking to myself, but as I talked it through, more thoughts came to my mind. So it just helps to talk about it sometimes, you know, like if you need help in life, just talk about it. And sometimes you just, as you're verbalizing your problem, sometimes solutions and thoughts just start to free flow. So it's not just about plants, you know, if you need help, talk about it. I'm talking to myself mostly. Anyway, so as I was talking about these peperomia in that video, I realized that the only thing that I hadn't tried to help revive them was changing the soil. So I am a bit of a stickler for not repotting my plants as soon as I buy them, as soon as I get them, because I don't like to shock them too much. Once they come into my space, I like them to acclimate, and then come spring or summer, or when they're root bound, then I will repot them. None of these situations have come along. It's neither spring or summer, nor are these plants root bound. Peperomia are generally pretty shallow rooted, so I don't think they'll be root bound for a long time. But they are sitting in a coco coir soil mix that stays way too wet for way too long, and I think that might be the issue. That's the only thing that I haven't tried to do. So I'm going to be repotting these plants today, even though it's not what I would generally recommend, being that they're neither root bound nor is it growing season, but they're already suffering right now. So I need to get them out of this soil. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to be upsizing the pot size, so I'm going to put them in the same pot size, but these are just clean pots. I'm not going to be upsizing the pot simply because, like I've already said, they're not root bound. I'm not going to be going up a pot size because they're not root bound. And what I'm also going to do is pot 2 of them together. So as you can see, I have 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I like to do sometimes is when I have smaller plants that are struggling, I like to pot them together. And so that's what I'm going to be doing today, which is why I have 2 pots and 4 plants. So I have 2 here. These are 2 silver ripple peperomia. And then I have 2, I think one is a sunset or sunrise. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to know the names of these. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pot 1 silver ripple with 1 with purple leaves. And I'm going to pot the other silver ripple with the other one with purple leaves. So you get the picture, right? Okay, so I'm gonna pot those 2 together and these 2 together. The thing with peperomia is the stems are very, very fragile. So I've been putting this off, I'm not gonna lie. I was definitely putting this off because I've already lost 2 leaves there and I haven't even taken them out of the pot or anything. So I'm prepared to lose so many leaves in this process. So I guess I'm just gonna get started. Now, like I said, the issue with the soil mix that it's currently sitting in is that it stays too wet for too long. I'm gonna be repotting it in the Osmocote Indoor Plant Soil Mix. Wow, English. I'm gonna be repotting it into the Osmocote Indoor Plant Soil Mix, and most of my plants like this, but there is one downside to this where if it's in a space where it doesn't have enough light or not enough warmth, it stays too wet for too long. So what I'm gonna be doing with this is mixing it with some propagation sand. This one here, propagation sand, and this will help with drainage. It'll just help with drainage, basically. So I'm gonna mix a little bit of this and that propagation sand together, and then I'm gonna start repotting. So there's a whole bit of a process to do with this, but it's necessary and it is what must be done. How many times have we heard that phrase in Victoria? If you know, you know. So I've got this container here. I don't need a whole heap of soil because, like I said, it's only going into 2 pots. So, but knowing me, I probably will still mix too much soil. Okay, that'll do. Normally I would use perlite, but I don't actually have any. So propagation sand is going to have to do. This bag has a hole in the bottom, so it's gonna come out the bottom instead of the top. There we go. I need a bucket for this or something. Okay, so I've got a bit of soil there, some propagation sand. It's nice and gritty. I actually think it needs just a little bit more because this is still gonna stay too wet for too long. Okay, that'll do, donkey. Just mix that one through. I feel like this mix needs to be a lot more chunky, but I don't actually have any like orchid bark or charcoal or any of that. And I'd have to go to Bunnings to get it, and there is a 5K restriction, travel restriction in my area at the moment because we are in lockdown again. That's okay. I'm going to make do with what I've got. This indoor plant soil mix does come with some bark chunks in it anyway, and that propagation sand is gonna have to help. So I'm just gonna get on with it, I guess. This might be another big mistake of mine, not mixing it with something else, but I've gotta work with what I've got, don't I? It's kind of my mantra these days. So here are the first 2. I'm just going to take a bit of soil and pop it in the bottom of that pot. I'm not really worried about putting 2 plants together within the one pot because, like I said, peperomia have very, very shallow roots and it takes ages before they get root bound. Here we go. As I'm going through it as well, I'm going to pick out all the dead leaves, all the dead stems. There's just so many rotting at the base here. By the looks of it, you'd think that I overwatered it, but I didn't. Because it is also very, very cold now within this space. Well, I mean, I have my heater going, but it's not in the warmest of spots in the house. The soil is not drying out as quickly as it normally would either. Maybe that's it. I'm gonna take out all those stems that are like drooping down. Oops, I just separated a little plant. Okay, well, that was not planned, and I don't want to be too rough or pull it because the leaves are quite waxy, and if I'm too rough and I pull it off too quickly, it's gonna pull off other leaves along with it. So I don't know what I'm doing. Hope that's some type of comfort to you guys, that I'm also learning as I go. Or you could also be like, where is this girl's credibility anyway? I don't know what I'm saying now. All right, so I've come across these 2. Those have come apart and there's barely any roots there. I don't know if it's because I've torn them off or, like I said, they have a very shallow root system. So I'm just going to very, very gently remove the surrounding soil, which is so thick, like there's hardly any drainage possibility near these roots. So it also comes with a root plug, which is what you will generally find in most younger or smaller plants. This is how they grow them in the grow houses, in root plugs. So it's that little disc that the propagation is stuck into, And from that, the plugs are taken out and then repotted into larger pots like you see here. Like a lot of people call them the death plug, but for me personally, like it's not a huge deal because these plugs, as the plant grows bigger, they will disintegrate. So it's coming off with no issue there. Like I know some people have a big problem with them. I don't personally. They disintegrate, and if it was harmful for the plants, then like they wouldn't use it that way. Like they wouldn't do it, would they? I don't know. It's just the way that I'm thinking. But anyway. All right, so that I've taken all the soil away from that, and as you can see, there's not much of a root system, and that's either because it was in that plug, or Peperomia just have a very shallow root system. So that's one done. I'm gonna take the other out, and this one has that coco coir soil mix I was speaking of. It's just very, very wet. Very wet. So it's almost boggy even. See that? It's coming off in chunks. It's not falling away, free falling, like a chunky soil mix should. So just taking that away. This one doesn't have a plug, and I'm just gonna pull away the dead leaves while I'm at it. I don't know why I chose to wear long sleeves for this video. Again, I did not think it through. Okay, so I'm not going to disturb it too much from here. I'm not going to try and pull off all that soil because I don't want to disturb it anymore than I already have. I'm also taking off those dead bits. Like I said before, there aren't too much. There's not too much left on this one. I can't believe I paid $26 for this plant. This, I know, regret. Anyway, now I'm going to sit those together, those two little bits that came off, sit those together and take that other little bit, and I already put soil in there, but because these have very shallow roots, I'm gonna need to put more soil at the base, at the base of the pot, so that they can sit on it before I backfill it. All right, there we go. That can sit there. Let me take this away. Can you see? Can you see? I'm just gonna use my hands. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. I didn't mix enough soil. I knew I didn't mix enough soil. All right. Just backfill around the base. Now I don't want too much of the base of the stems to be sitting in the soil because that's gonna cause it to rot even more, but at the same time, I need enough of it to be sitting in there. It doesn't have much of a root system to keep it stabilized, so I'm just gonna do that and hope for the best. There we go. She's looking a lot more full now, right? A lot of the leaves still look a bit droopy, so I'm just gonna pull those off. Now, because Peperomia are quite like a lot like succulents, you can just let them sit in the soil, and as long as there is moisture there, they're gonna take root into it. But I'm not gonna actually water that because I feel like it's gonna just rot them even more. So I'm just gonna leave that as it is right now and keep an eye on it. I should have taken a before and after photo. I'll do that with the other two. Now it's time to do the other two, and I don't know if I should do it on camera. I might just do it like as a speed up version because it's essentially the same as what I just did with those last two. So let's go. Losing a lot of mushy stems in this process, but that's okay. If this means that it's going to revive the plant, I don't mind losing a few leaves as I go along. There might be some of you who are also thinking, you can't propagate those leaves, you know? And like, I know I can, but I have never really myself personally had any success propagating Peperomia. The leaves always go mushy, the stems always just rot, and I feel like I'm not doing it right. I am missing something there, and I would like to try to propagate Peperomia again. It's just right now, it's not really something that I really want to do. So there we go. There's that Silver Ripple separated. This one has a bit more of a decent root system, and I've just broken more leaves there. All right, I hate breaking leaves, but it's just the nature of these plants, that's for sure. So I'm just gonna sit that in there like that while I do the other one. Ooh, this soil mix is so bad. All right. I feel like I have figured out what was wrong with it. It was definitely the soil mix. It needs to be chunky, free flowing, free draining. They were just sitting too wet for too long. Alright, that one doesn't look as nice as the other one, but that's just because there was one fuller silver ripple in the other one, and this silver ripple isn't quite as full and lush. So I have made a huge mess. Hopefully that does something. I'm now going to clean this mess up and update you guys on the last few plants that I did in the last 2 episodes of Houseplant Hospital. Sorry, I'm still pulling off saggy leaves, soggy, saggy, droopy leaves here. I don't know if these plants were worth the effort, but anyway, I'm gonna try. Alright, I'm just gonna clean this up and then I'll show you guys these plants and what I think about them, and we'll just get on with it. Okay, I don't know if I can say that they do look any better. I feel like I just condensed the chaos rather than made them actually look better. But again, this is one of those things that I will find out if this worked or if that was the issue with these plants as time goes on, and I will for sure update you guys in the next Houseplant Hospital video that I do, whether that is 2 or 3 or 4, hopefully it's 4 weeks from now, because then that's a good amount of time to know whether or not these plants are going to make it or if they're looking any better. Generally, plants need about a week or 2 weeks before they start to perk up if they've been given better conditions. And I don't know if these are going to suffer because I have disturbed the roots during the not growing season. But anyway, it is what it is. I've done it now, and if they do kind of decline or die off, I'm gonna be sad because I do love these. They're beautiful plants when they're healthy and full and lush. But right now there's really no love lost at the moment, except for one of these. My friend, one of my really good friend, gave me one of these silver ripples, and I'd be sad if I lost that one. Okay, so that's that on that. Now I'm gonna update you guys on the last 2 episodes of Houseplant Hospital that I did. And one of them was a Kentia palm. Okay, so here is the Kentia palm that I tried to revive in episode number 1. It's doing a lot better. It since has lost 1 more leaf, but that was already rotted at the base, so it was already on its way out, so I couldn't save it and I just had to cut that other one off. But what's really exciting for me is this is a new frond coming out there. Now it was already dry at the top when I got it, but it hasn't died off. So within time, that's gonna come out into a brand new leaf, so that's very, very exciting for me. And it's still looking quite green. The leaves have not lost their luster, so they're looking a lot better now. Now the soil mix is that Osmocote indoor plant soil mix, and I have not watered this since I created that video, and that was about a month ago now. And it's still sitting too wet, but the plant itself hasn't gone yellow or rotted off anymore than that stem has, which was, I feel like, was already rotting anyway. So I've just moved it back into a spot that has a lot of bright indirect light, which is here in the lounge room window, and I'm just hoping that it'll do a lot better. I don't feel like it's really gonna do a whole lot right now considering it's winter, like I've already said a million bajillion times in my most recent videos, but it is the case and it is the reality of this season I'm in right now. It hasn't done a whole lot, but it's good that it hasn't declined anymore, so that's a positive thing. It has been submitted into my care, and I've said I think I should keep it for a little while longer until it starts to show more new growth or it has bounced back. That's the update on that. Not a whole lot to show, but there's not a whole lot happening season-wise. So there we go. That's the Kentia palm. I think she's doing a lot better. The leaves are definitely looking a lot more vibrant and happy than they did when I first got it. So that's good. That's a positive sign. She's doing well. Okay, here's an update on episode number 2. I need to stop wriggling around. Just sit your bum on your chair like our mums used to say. All right, here is the Calathea Jungle Rose that I revived or tried to revive in episode number 2. I can't say it's done a whole lot. The leaves still look really bad because they were already bad when I first got it. That new growth is still shooting through. It hasn't rotted off or died or anything. It's just in a really bad place, and I feel like one of those stems is rotting off even more. I think I'm gonna lose that one. In fact, you know what, right now, I think I'm gonna cut it off because it's just gone mushy at the bottom, and I think maybe when I watered it, because it was sitting in very dry soil when I got it, I watered it and the watering seemed to make it even more cold, and it's just rotted off the base of this leaf here. As much as I would love to have given more of a positive update for this plant overall, I don't think very much more is gonna happen now until spring or summer. And right now I'm just going to cut off that base there, and I'll do a close-up while I'm cutting it so you guys can see what it looks like at the base. And I guess that's the update on the Calathea Jungle Rose. It was 3 weeks since I filmed that last episode, and she's still not perking up. But the positive is that the new leaves are still coming through. The negative or the sad news is that it's rotting. The stems, the existing stems are rotting. I wish I had better news to share with you guys there, but it is what it is, and sometimes you can't win them all, right? As much as I would like to, I can't win them all. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you've chosen to spend your time here with me today, and I want to say thank you to all the new faces that are here on my channel. I see you guys. I appreciate all the people who are subscribing and commenting. You mean so much to me. I really, really, truly appreciate it, and I love the conversation that we have in the comments. They are the best. You guys are the best. So thank you for watching. Please like the video if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Hi everybody, it's Judy here. Welcome back. Sand's falling out of the bag. Now they got the power tools out. Anyway, the show must go on. Get a bucket and a mop. I didn't think this through. Okay. And I'll put a bead of